Hey everybody, we're about to begin 21 days of prayer and fasting. So I thought it might be a good time for me to talk to you for 3 or 4 minutes about how to prepare for a spiritual fast. Now, when I talk about fasting, what I'm talking about is abstaining from some or all food for a specific period of time for a specific spiritual purpose. Let me give you 3 practical exercises I go through every time I prepare to go on a fast. First of all, you want to determine what you're fasting from and what you're fasting for. When we talk about what you're fasting from, what we're really talking about is your diet, your food. What are you going to give up from your diet over the next 21 days in order to get closer to God? Many of us go on what's called a Daniel fast. A Daniel fast is an example that we read in the Old Testament where Daniel and some of his friends actually adopted more of a vegan diet. They gave up meat and they gave up dairy. Today we also say things like we give up any refined sugars and artificial products put in food. We eat pretty much clean vegetables and fruits. If that's something you'd like to try, I'd highly recommend it, and there's a lot of great information on the internet about it. However, if for whatever reason, whether it's your specific your health condition or whether it's for economic reasons or it's just not practical for you to go on the Daniel fast, don't let that discourage you from joining us in 21 days of prayer and fasting. Why don't you take the occasion to consider what might I be willing to give up from my diet? That would be a challenge, that would be a sacrifice, that would require some discipline in order to get closer to God. So that's what you're fasting from. But what are you fasting for? When I fast, I use it as an occasion to detox my thoughts, to detox my heart, to detox my life, in order for me at the beginning of the year to hear from God very clearly as I look forward to what He has for me in the 12 months ahead. So what are you fasting from? What are you fasting for? Secondly, I'd encourage you to move into your fast gradually rather than abruptly. What I typically find with people who get ready to go into a fast, they almost act like they're a bear ready to go into hibernation. And that last few days leading up to the fast, they go through the fridge and the freezer and the pantry and they load up on all these big, heavy meals, trying to gorge themselves on everything they know they're giving up for 3 weeks. So I'd encourage you this week, why don't you start ramping down some of the careless eating? Why don't you start ramping down some of the mindless going into the cupboard all the time and grabbing whatever's convenient and ramping up some of your spiritual intensity? And then finally, the last thing that I would encourage you to do is this: get ready to master your belly. That's really the hard part of fasting. It's the biggest challenge for me, is every time I fast, I know I'm going to have to take charge of all these cravings. My body's pretty much a spoiled child, and my belly usually gets what it wants. But I promise you, if you call on God to help you, He'll sustain you, help you master your appetite, overcome these cravings, and release to you all the spiritual blessings that we find in fasting. So, if you'd like to do some more reading on fasting, there's 3 books I keep in my office that I'd highly recommend. First of all, you can read Dave Williams' book, The Miracle Results of Fasting. It's a thin book, a short read, but highly comprehensive if you're getting ready to really dig into what it means to fast. To dig a little bit deeper, I'd recommend picking up this book. It's called Celebration of Discipline by Richard Foster. He writes about all the different Christian disciplines, but spends a lot of time talking about prayer and fasting. And then finally, if you really want to dig deep, you can go into this book, Fasting for Spiritual Breakthrough by Elmer Towns. Well, God bless you. I hope you'll join us on this 21 days, and let's see what God does in the hearts and the lives of all those in Echo Community Church who will fast from something for God.